Hi everyone, my name is Bianca, and this morning we are going to dive into Matthew chapter 17. Now there's so much to cover in this chapter, and so we're not going to get to all of it this morning. So I encourage you that if you get the chance, if you haven't already, please go back and read the entirety of Matthew 17. There's so much for us to learn and to just be able to take away from this. And so I'm excited to jump right in. It says in verse 1, "After 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and his brother John and led them up on a high mountain by themselves. He was transfigured in front of them, and his face shone like the sun. His clothes became as white as the light. Suddenly Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with him. Then Peter said to Jesus, 'Lord, it's good for us to be here. I will set up 3 shelters here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah.' While he was still speaking, suddenly a bright cloud covered them, and a voice from the cloud said, 'This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him.' When the disciples heard this, they fell face down and were terrified. Jesus came up, touched them, and said, 'Get up, don't be afraid.' When they looked up, they saw no one except Jesus alone. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus commanded them, 'Don't tell anyone about the vision until the Son of Man is raised from the dead.'" And so there's so much here, and I think the thing that I want to focus in on today is the response that Peter had in response to seeing the full glory of who Jesus was, like in this moment. Like before, they had only experienced him in the physical of the man that was Jesus, and not the glory of what it talks about. His face shone like the sun, his clothes became as white as the light. And I think that the way that this spoke to me is just a lot of times when we're met with the glory of God, our response is that we need to do something, that there's something that we have to do because we're in the presence of this like glory that we can't comprehend or understand fully. And I love that he was just stopped in his tracks, and God was just like, no, like listen to him. And Jesus, all he wanted to do was for them to get up and to not be afraid, to just be with him. And I think so often that we just feel like we have to do all of these things to be in the presence of God, when in reality, like he just wants us to be with him. And so there's so much more here, and there's so much more that we can learn, but please go back and read this and just listen to whatever it is that God has to say to you, because I know that he has something that he wants to share. We just need to sit and be in his presence.